Hello Blood Bowl fans and welcome to another Wood Wars, finally against a new coach. One of our students actually in the new upcoming student league by the name of Jobrandon. Jobrandon is bringing his Skaven against my Khemri team. My Khemri team is getting more action than I really wanted to. I'm hoping to play a couple more teams in this series because I think I've played way too many, but they are my highest TV team, so if I'm facing a coach that has a relatively high or at least slightly developed team, Khemri are probably going to be the team of choice just because they are in range. So, starting quest stadium, Tavern Cellar. Starting quest is Jobrandon's team, the Skaven team, and he is in fact the Skaven tutor. Not tutor, no, he's not the tutor, he's the Skaven student under tutor Oog. And the Skaven are singing scatter, scatter, kill, kill, die. Because that's what Skaven do. And the Khemri are singing meow, 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 meow. Which to us sounds like a funny joke, but to them it's a very, very serious call to their gods. Alright then, coin flip. And do keep in mind that Jobrandon is a student, he's quite new to the game, he has less than 100 hours in Blood Bowl, so he is relatively fresh. Doesn't stop him from kicking my ass, but still, it does mean that he may do some things that we wouldn't normally see people do. And he did choose to kick to me, so that's interesting because a lot of new coaches don't like to kick, so it was nice to see that actually, and it's a good idea kicking as Skaven to Khemri. It's a good idea kicking in general, to be honest, unless you have secret weapons. So even though a lot of people say that, of course, receiving is the best option, receiving isn't always the best option. The main reason is that you get the first, that even though you get blocked first, you are going into your defensive drive without having to take blocks, and potentially, especially as a fast team, already in the lead, or at least with an equal score. So it's not such a bad idea. And we are actually using the new ball. I forgot to mention that last time, I think, so I think I was using it then too. I'm using the ribcage ball just to see what it looks like, and it is in the game right now. Because the last update gave us two new balls, the ribcage ball and the demon ball. I'll try and use the other ball next game, if I remember. And things to note, I do actually have two Tomb Guards with Mighty Blow, and one of my Froras is currently out, he's injured. And the Skaven team, I don't really remember any particularly interesting levels, they were mostly block pieces. There is a kick as well, that's kind of important actually, though he forgot to use his kick apparently. And he did say that there was a misclick with the kick, so I guess he clicked in the wrong place. And there's no other real interesting development on the Skaven team. It's the same Khemri team it's always been, so I do have the agility piece somewhere, he's here. And I have my block Furra and my two Blitzras. Because the Mighty Blow Blitzra died, they're both rookies again. And I do have a Wrestle Skeleton as well, who is here. So that's it for levels on this team. Let's do some bashing. That's a good bash. Doesn't do any damage though. Because of the touchback, it did mean that I could put the ball in the complete opposite direction to where Jobrandon wanted it. So I am going to be forced to score relatively early, unfortunately I think, but at the same time I do have a pretty good starting place with the ball, and I have managed to cage up kind of here. And I didn't re-roll the 2 down, and with Mighty Blow I didn't feel the need because I was more likely to knock a rat out, and I did. So quite happy with that result. Not happy with that result though, already I've got a skeleton injured. Let's hope regen works. It does. One thing I will say is that Jobrandon took a long time to decide, even though you always see things happening quickly. Every turn almost took the full 3 minutes. So he is definitely a thinker. And that was unlucky for him. It puts him in a bit of a difficult position as well, because I can get my Tomb Guards right up in his face now, which I will do. And the one piece of advice he was given was avoid the 3-die blocks, but to be honest I'm not that worried about getting 3-die blocks with 2 Mighty Blow pieces. 2-die blocks are fine. The problem with 3-die blocks is that you have to give up position. So I'm going to use the Tomb Guardians as kind of pairs mostly, but at the same time I'm not going to give up position just to get a 3-die on a lineman or a 3-die on a gutter runner that's probably going to dodge out anyway. So this is why I'm taking the block before I move this Tomb Guard. I want to put him somewhere more useful, but never mind, I just got to push, so Tomb Guard is standing up. Tomb Guard is standing up. Tomb Guard is standing up. No, I realized, I remember actually this happening. I forgot that I'd already blitzed. I was going to blitz with this piece, but in the end I suddenly realized, oh wait, I've already blitzed, and I stood him up. So that's what happened there. So still a mistake, but not the mistake you'd expect. And this is one thing Jobrandon was very good at, actually. He was very good at repositioning pieces, though the one thing I'd say is that he did give up completely on locking up pieces. He should realistically be using the lineman to keep pieces in place, but he's kind of moving everything, which is not a terrible thing, but at the same time it does mean that I can reposition my team however I want every turn. And he also takes risk by dodging away in the first place. So it's a bit of a risky play. It works for him this game, and it will work for him sometimes, but it won't work for him all the time. As you can see, I have 3 Tomb Guards free, and I have enough pieces to lock up the ball nice and sensibly and punch a gutter runner in the face, so I'm really happy with that. And I actually choose to leave 2 Tomb Guards over here because I don't want these 3 pieces moving away freely. They can dodge if they really want to, but that would be crazy. And keeping the 2 Storm Vermin locked up is kind of a key to the strategy here. And I'm not sure why I put the ball there, looking at it now. I think it was kind of an oversight, but we'll see what I do with it. I think I'm trying to get away from these gutter runners basically, but they can go wherever they want, so it's a strange choice. As was bringing the Blitzer back. I see, I'm trying to lock up the gutter runner. Okay. Well, I have the Tomb Guards in the way, but I have left a gap here that the rats can make use of. Though not many of them, to be fair. Okay, I'm filling up the gap with this piece. That was strange play from me. I don't know, I was having a really weird game this game, to be fair, but it's because I've been playing all agility teams recently, so I've gotten out of the habit of playing these slow-moving teams, actually, but yeah. And now he's going to focus on actually putting a Tomb Guard down, which is fine. The main problem with putting Tomb Guards down is that, as you can see, you have to use so many pieces to do it. So you've got 3 gutter runners out of position now, and you didn't actually do any damage. He just stands back up and locks up these 3 pieces again. Oh, and a foul from a thrower. That's a weird one. No bribe, I'll point out as well. And it backfired. It backfired big time. Not even a stun, and thrower is gone. That was interesting play. So yeah, Tomb Guard can stand up. This Tomb Guard can just go and stand in here, be in the way and annoying. And I can also put the Blitzer in an annoying place, if I want to. And I've even got another free mummy. I should be blitzing with the Blitzer realistically though, but I think I am just going to put him in an annoying place. What I'm going to do here basically is box up these pieces so they have to take really difficult dice to get out, meaning that even though I don't have a screen around the ball, it's going to be hard for him to move pieces in general, so the ball is actually safer in that regard. Not safe, but safer. And I am going to use a half cage anyway, because I am facing Skaven at the end of the day, and Skaven can do some disgusting things when prompted. And I'll blitz with this piece and move him around the back to lock up this little bit here. Or you know, we'll just both hit the ground, and the rat will get stunned, so there is that. So by doing this, the only thing he can move safely is this here gutter runner. The rest he has to take 2 rolls in order to get a piece out. Or, of course, do some blocking out. That's the other option, like he is doing. Still though, this one can get out for free, this one can get out for free, these two still have to roll 2 dice to get out of this little defensive cage. And we're taking a half die. If you're going to take a half die, do take it with the Storm Vermin, so I'll give him that. That was well designed. And again, he's dodging out these pieces that he doesn't really need to dodge out, and by dodging them out he's giving me a chance to move pieces for free. You have a bench, so you can take a couple of injuries. And that's the first reroll I had to take. Sometimes standing still is better than trying to dodge when you don't really need to dodge. And the reason is because now I can choose who I punch, whereas before I can only punch this guy. And good thing I got wrestle there. Now we're going to make our way up relatively unsafely, but we can't score this turn, I think. So we just need to put the ball in a position where it's within scoring range, and we're going to have to score next turn. Jobrandon isn't giving me much chance in terms of standing still and scoring, and that was a... I missed the fact this piece had dodge. I actually wanted to stay here in 2 tackle zones, but not dodge, block. But I missed the fact it had block, so I should have taken the power there just to do the damage, but it was an oversight on my side, because again, I don't often play with this, and sometimes I do things too quickly. Especially when I haven't had a proper look at the team. But I get lucky, and Jobrandon takes a skull. And a KO. Now, on the one hand I do need to score, on the other hand I kind of want to do damage because I want to be up numbers against the Skaven, so I am going to take some blocks here because I have a reroll. I wouldn't recommend doing this all the time. Sometimes it's safer just to score. But the problem is that as soon as I score, the rats have the ball, so I prefer the rats to have the ball with less players. This time he doesn't have block, so the 2 down is good. And I am scoring this turn unless something goes wrong, regardless. Just trying to do some damage before I take the score. And we're going to try and punch both gutter runners. We're going to blitz with a ball carrier. And here we go. Ball carrier has block, don't forget, as well. And this piece does not. Okay, no damage, that's a shame, but we did get the score. So 1-0 to Khemri. Well done, Exhibit. Now I have no doubt that by the end of the half it will be 1-1. But take your score when you can against Skaven. Unless you can actually stall, then take the score. I couldn't realistically stall. So the thrower being out is good news, the gutter runner coming back is not, but there is a KO that stays out, so he actually has a full team, because he had a 13-man roster. My team is still full as well, because the injury regened, and I don't have my spare piece, but still 11-man roster, so we're sticking with 11 for now. Now realistically, Jobrandon wants to score on turn 8. Though there is an argument for scoring earlier to get his KO back, but his KO is just alignment, so it's not really such a big deal. So realistically he wants to score on turn 8, not giving me any kind of chance to do any free damage. If he scores any earlier, I get free blocks on my turn 8. or turn 7 if he manages to one-turn touchdown. And the ribcage ball is nice, I quite like it actually. It's interesting, though it's obviously logistically stupid, but it's an interesting concept. Because if you kick that thing and it landed, it would just break. But we're playing a game where logistics is completely out the window anyway, so I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. There are a lot of logistical problems with this game. So bouncing bones, fantastic. And Jobrandon is going for a kind of an aggressive stance here, and he is obviously looking to get this piece off the pitch, but it's going to cost him a couple of pieces to do that, so I'm quite happy with him attempting that, to be honest. And I'm not going to save a skeleton in order to allow a score, so if the skeleton goes off the pitch, that's not the end of the world to me, really. Even the wrestle skeleton. And you can see from the way he's setting up here, he is actually going to be relying on the dice next turn. So I'm going to make it so he has to roll as many as possible. Because he's got 2 pieces that can score at the moment. This one, and this one. And he needs to succeed in a pass, which is not so hard in Skaven, but at the same time, when you are locked up all over the pitch, you have to roll dice for dodging, etc. You have to roll a lot of dice. It's risky play, so Jobrandon was actually better off doing this a little bit slower, to be honest. He's put pressure on me, which is great, but by spreading out his team like this, it means that I can actually position myself where I'm in a fight with him, and that's what I want, it's not what he wants. And we have already got an injury out of it, from the blitz. And having to dodge everything just means more chance of a rat saying bye-bye. On the plus side though, I can't actually get to this gutter runner, or this gutter runner for that matter, so there are still 2 pieces that are very dangerous here. And we've taken a KO on Storm Vermin as well, which is always bad news for Skaven. That's the one piece you really don't want to lose, is a Storm Vermin. Now, his best bet is actually to take advantage of the side where I've left no pieces, so come this way. I have made it difficult for him by putting a Tomb Guard in his way, but he is better off coming this way for now, and he has still got 2 turns. Now, he's made a cage that's actually based with a block piece, which means I'm going to break this cage and maybe get this ball now. So long as I don't do anything stupid, at least. And we have failed to dodge. And we failed it twice. That's bad news. But again, don't really need to dodge this piece out. He was holding the Tomb Guard where he was. Now the Tomb Guard is going to be where you really don't want him. Now I'm going to lock up every single piece, and I'm going to break this line here, and then this piece is going to come around and blitz the ball. That's the plan. Got to make sure I don't follow here though. If I follow, I screw it up. And I screwed it up. I followed. I don't know why I followed. I actually knew I did it before I said if I follow I screw it up. I knew as well when I was doing it that I shouldn't have followed, but for some reason I followed. On the plus side, this is still difficult for him to break out of if I blitz this piece into the cage as well. On the negative side, he's Skaven, he can break out of it. But we're going to try and do some damage and just try and keep him locked up in this box here. He's going to need a bit of luck to get out, basically. More than a bit, actually. But he's Skaven. Skaven are renowned for being lucky. And we've taken 2 injuries. That's a pretty good couple of turns for me. Even if we do go 1-1, I'm going to have the numbers when we come back. And it looks like he's going to try and break his way out, as opposed to dodge his way out. Skull's not good, but we have a reroll, so that's fine. And we have put the piece out the way. He needs this piece down as well, realistically. Otherwise, it's a difficult dodge. No, he's taking the 2 dodges, that's fair. Well, a bit of luck he had, and he managed to even the score in the end. So, fair play. And well broken down actually by Jobrandon there. It's not always easy to find a way out of such a sticky situation, but he managed. So 3 injuries and only 1 KO back. He's down to 9 players. That's good for me. And my team is still full, of course. So I should be able to at least get 1 more touchdown out of this. Though Skaven are going to score first, probably. So I'm probably playing for a draw. However, I am hoping that I can do some damage and actually take the ball from him. I'm actually setting up quite deep as well, because Jobrandon has proved himself quite aggressive on attack. So I've put myself in a position where I can defend an aggressive attack. And the high kick failed there because the ball actually landed in this place, so there was no high kick option, and unfortunately the Storm Vermin didn't manage to catch the ball. And I did put the agility piece on the line. It was a mistake. I actually thought I switched him for the wrestle piece, but I didn't. So that is the agility piece right there, the one who just got punched. And the wrestle piece is here. He should be the agility piece. And Jobrandon is actually running straight through, which is brave, but it's dangerous. The problem with doing this is I can put a mummy over here, I can put a mummy here, mummy here, and these 2 guys can focus down the gutter runner. At least it's a block gutter runner, but still, I have 2 block pieces that can punch him. Should have been a block wrestle piece, but the wrestle piece... it shouldn't have been a block wrestle piece actually, but it is a block wrestle piece when I think about it. And Jobrandon's going to focus down this side, it looks like. Though he has a gutter runner in reserve over here, so he can go back if necessary. Overall, this is a very difficult thing to do. Skaven are very difficult to defend against, as Khemri in general. I probably should have brought this Tomb Guard this way, actually, instead of putting him in the middle. I'm going to put a skeleton there instead, though. Okay. The key pieces here are this piece that needs to hold the flank, these 2 pieces that needs to do damage to this here gutter runner, and the tomb guards that are going to hold some slow pieces in place. I've left a bit too much of a gap between my tomb guards, to be honest, but I have made a kind of half-elf screen with them. And we're going to take the 2 down because I don't really want him to move. I want him to stay where he is, so he's got more bases on him. And we're going to wrestle the block piece, so at least he goes down if I do get a 2 down. But basically I'm locking this piece up so he has to dodge out twice again. So everything requires a lot of dice rolls again. Skaven are capable of it, but well, Jobrandon isn't afraid of these dodges at all, but a lot of coaches are, and realistically you should be, because if you're doing too many of them, of course, eventually one is going to fail, and one fails already. Reroll though. Also, I'm not sure that dodge was necessary, again, but he used it as the blitz, so, well, we're doing better off blitzing this piece. But he has gone over here, like I said, with this reserve piece, and passes into a tackle zone and dodges out, which is very brave, but he's put himself in a position where I can't really stop him, so it works. And this piece does actually manage to get out of the gap as well, so rats did well there. I can't actually physically get to this piece. Actually I can. With this piece I can, but otherwise I cannot physically get there. This piece can base him with 2 GFIs, this piece can get in his way a little bit, but he can get around. And the skeleton can get there, but it also requires 2 GFIs, so I have to roll some dice to stop the ball here. Maybe I'm wrong then. I'm pretty sure that should have been the blitz, but no, I can blitz with this piece. Fair enough. Well, that's better, because this piece has block. And reroll the 2 pushes, because I don't want the Skaven standing, but the 2 pushes rerolls into 2 pushes, so the gutter runner stays up. And fail GFI. Hey, an injury. There we go. And no regen, there goes the agility piece. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. It's very, very difficult for him to get through at the moment. Well, it's not very difficult, but it's quite difficult. He can't just dodge straight out with a... what would it be? It would be a 3+, 3+, 2+ out. That's a possibility. Or we can blitz with this piece, which it looks like he's going to do. For a 1 die, and then running through. Yeah, that was the more sensible option. Ugh, and an injury. This next game, oh no, okay, regen is good. He'll be back. And take the score right now, because, well, actually, he could have stalled 1 turn, when I think about it, because I don't think I could have got there. But anyway, we took the score, which is sensible as well, so, well done. Good job, Jobrandon, going 2-1 up. Now you've just got to stop me from scoring, and the game is yours. The numbers are a little bit fairer this turn, but I still have 1 up. I have 10 pieces and he has 9 pieces, so it's slightly fairer, which is good enough to defend, as the rats as well. Interesting that he has actually set up on attack though, mostly. He's got quite an aggressive setup here. I mean, taking the free one is good, if you can, but priority should really be defending here, not trying to score. And my priority should be in picking up the balls, not trying to hurt, but there we go, making mistakes. Got a KO, that's good. So I should be moving pieces first, really. Especially these two, because they're in the middle of nowhere. Oh, that's a bad one. That's a dead storm vermin. Apo there. Apo works at least. That puts him down to 7 pieces for this drive, though. Okay, can we secure the ball now, please? No, I'm playing silly buggers at the moment. Oh, I'm playing really silly buggers at the moment. Why? This is poor for me, all round. Okay. So, now, my 2 guys on the outside need to come in a bit, because at the moment they're all on their own, or they need to... I know what I'm doing, actually. I'm trying to get the ball out here. That's the plan, I guess, but... yeah, really should have moved these pieces. At least one of them first. No. And fail GFI, not re-rolling that. Yeah, that was poor. Needed to move these 2 pieces realistically. My defense is way too thin, and he can get almost all of his gutter runners into this area. 3 of the 4. So that's really bad news. I have to play defensively now. So I actually saw the way he set up, and Still, I didn't play defensively, so this is all my fault that Jobrandon is actually taking advantage of this. And I will take this moment to appreciate the fact that he's actually noticed. So it's quite good for a new coach that he's realized that he can really put a lot of pressure on here. And a cheeky half die as well. Yeah, I wouldn't advise doing that too often. Sometimes it will backfire badly. Dodging would have been better actually there. Yeah, my team guards have to retreat because I've left this big open gap. It's poor play on my part, and these guys are actually out of position to help the ball. We can knock down this gutter runner, but that's about all we can do. And almost everything is coming back. Oh, and another one. Reroll that. Stand up. Oh no, why am I blitzing? Stay. Okay, and you guys come and help. There we go. Again, I should have moved these guys first before I was rolling dice, so poor. Yeah, and I got hit for it. I rolled quite a lot of ones there though, as well. But still. That's why we do these things. Oh, and he actually picks up and dodges out. Well, there we go then, free one. Well done. And that's the game done. That's Skaven for a win, that. Now, all you got to really do for the rest of the game is avoid my pieces and stop me from coming forward. And 2 of the KOs come back, so we have the same numbers, 10 against 9. I'm setting up for a fast touchdown here, basically, by putting the 2 Blitzras on the flank. They're going to go straight up and try and score. It's risky, but I got to get back in the game somehow, so I have to take some risks now. All Jobrandon really needs to do, though, is cover this flank, and I'm not going anywhere. At least until the last turn. And again, you set up for this actual aggressive stance, and this time I've been a bit smarter with positioning, but still the ball is quite unsecure at the moment, but this piece is going to lock up a gutter runner or 2. Just the 1, I can't get to 2, fair enough. And I do have the 4 tomb guards all together here, so a kind of an impenetrable wall. And I kind of have to make the same mistake twice, but my defense is a bit tighter this time at least. And the pass works, so cool. Like I said though, with 3-1 down I have to get back in this game somehow, and getting back in this game requires risk. And I couldn't quite decide where to put the ball. I mean, here is bad because there's nothing defending him, here is bad because they can get straight to him, but at the same time, his best way is to go round, and it's harder for him to get a 2-die if my Blitzra is standing here. And if he goes anywhere over here as well, same problem, the gutter runners can get there. To be honest, the best place was where he was. But trying to get back in the game. And rolling a lot of dice is working again, so that's a big problem for me. And that's an awful scatter as well. Yeah, didn't really need to pick up way too many dice in my opinion, but it worked, so fair enough. Though if it scatters back this way, that's a problem for you. So if you fail a pickup, if you fail a dodge, if you fail anything basically, well, if you fail a dodge, not a big deal, but if you fail a pickup, the ball is probably coming back this way, or maybe this way, but if you're unlucky, it's coming back this way, and then the ball is back in my hands. So it's a bit of a dangerous play, but it worked. Just not sure personally if the risk was worth it. As it is though, it's very difficult for me to do anything about it, so it's worked out very well for him. I'm going to try and knock the ball out of his hands though with my wrestle piece. That'll do. And I didn't really want the ball to scatter onto me. Ball can go anywhere now. It ends up in not the worst place. Not the best either though. This piece needs to come and lock up this area though. Preferably here. Oh, I GFI'd. Why? That would have been fine. Yeah, that was poor. I was trying to stand on the ball, but I could have gone here. That would have been good enough. Well, a one-die block with a block piece is not such a bad idea. At the same time though, you need to do them in moderation, and again, didn't really need to pick up, but again successful, so I can't really explain why it's not a good idea when it works, but it's not necessary. If it works, great, as you can see, because I can't really do much about it, but if it fails, then you're in a very dangerous position. Though, when you're already 3-1 up, it's not really such a big deal. I think greed is winning over logic in this match a bit though, because we're going for a 4th touchdown when we don't really need to. And I can't physically stop this ball. It's not an option, so all I can do is hope to get an injury and take the 4-1 as gracefully as I can. Though, if you're watching this and thinking that it's all been... well, I don't know, if you're watching this and thinking that it's all been perfectly played by Jobrandon, it has been played well, I'm not going to deny that, but we've taken way too much risk. And I have actually managed to get to the ball, I'm quite impressed with that. Though, obviously, a 2+ dodge is not difficult. And it's pretty straightforward for the bats to get out of that predicament. Sorry, I lost control of the mouse for a second there. And there we go, we're finishing 4-1 at the end. So, well done. Good job and well played. Overall, Jobrandon has been very impressive actually. He's got a very good foundation for the game. I like the way he plays a lot, and it looks like he's completely dominated me, because he has, though he's taken a few too many risks in my opinion. You can say what you want down below, see if you agree, if you disagree. I've made some mistakes as well, and he has managed to capitalize on them, which is very nice. Very good to see for a new coach. And Jobrandon is definitely one to watch in the Student League. He's shown a very good grasp for Blood Bowl. So I'm impressed with the students I've seen so far. I've only seen 2, my own and Jobrandon, but so far, I like what I see. And on this turn 16 I'm not scoring even if a riot comes, probably, so I'm just going to do some damage. That's all I want to do. And the reason I'm getting all the extra team rerolls is because I have coach assistants and cheerleaders, and Jobrandon doesn't, and we both have roughly the same fan factor. Well, there's a KO. All I can really do is hope for SPP here. That's it. And this skeleton needs a 1 to level up, so that's why he's gone for the ball. He's obviously not the best piece, but he just needs a 1, so I'm going to try the pass with him. And a 3 times 2 down rerolls into a push skull, which is not ideal. And our last piece doesn't do any damage either, so we can take a blitz. I don't know why we're not blitzing, but we're not blitzing. Okay, we're just going to go for the pass. Probably should have blitzed with the 2 blitzes on this rat first. Alright, pick up is good, and pass is perfect. Good pass, 10 out of 10. No, good game, Jobrandon, and well played. I hope I haven't come across too harsh. I think you did play well, definitely. Just a few things that I would say weren't necessary, that's all, really. They weren't necessary, but they worked, so, you know, take it as you will. One thing that one trend I'm seeing in Blood Bowl at the moment, actually, that I really don't like, and I try not to be too much like it myself, but people take this game too seriously, and I do like to see people playing the game they want to play, and Jobrandon is a good example. When you see new players, that's a good example of where people play what people would say suboptimally, but still it's working, so what can you say? And I like that. I like that about coaches, and I like that about new coaches especially. And if you want to play the way you want to play, then by all means do. If you want to play in a way that is, in quotation marks, in very big quotation marks, optimal, then listen to people's advice. But otherwise, keep playing the way you do. I really enjoyed this game, even though it was a heavy loss. And I liked meeting Jobrandon, and I like to see what's going to happen with him going forward. So look forward to seeing him in the Student League. So having a look at some stats at the end here then, 4 touchdowns, fantastic, 4 armor breaks, not so good, and 1 expulsion, which was a thrower, which was pretty funny. And Gutter Runner got MVP, which is always good news. And that's his first level, all the way up to 14, so he obviously got quite a lot of SPP this game. And touchdown pass, 16 armor break, and level up for my thrower. I have rolled it. I can't actually remember what I gave him. I'm going to have a look at that in a minute. And in terms of SPP, we've got 10 on that piece that got MVP, and I've got 9 on my piece that got MVP, so the 2 MVPs did really well this game. Then there's a 2-6-3, so 16, 18, 21, and 11, 13, 15. And I'm not going to have a look at the rat team, but having a look at this team, because we do have this team quite often, I got plus strength on Specimen. So he's nice and scary now, and I gave Fend to the thrower, that's right. So we've gone for fairly standard levels on the thrower, and I've got a nice scary half mummy in the form of Specimen. So there we go, that's it for the Pro Stumblers. They are now at 1290, and they are the highest team value in the Wood Wars. I am actually going to do a video after this looking at my Wood War teams, because I never actually did that, and I think it's going to be a bit boring, but I'm going to kind of half do it as a looking at the races at the same time video, I hope. So that's why I'm going to do that. Anyway, thanks for the game, Jobrandon. See you all in Discord soon. See you on the pitch. Blah blah blah. Bye bye for now.